Hi everyone. Today we're going to take a look at two different microphones for vlogging, Zoom calls, live streaming, podcasting, what have you, that mounts onto your camera. And they're really at two different ends of the spectrums in terms of pricing. The Feelworld FM8 is a very small, compact, affordable microphone. It's like about $29 or $30. And then we're also going to look at the new Comica Traxshot, which is a higher-end professional microphone with some additional features that I think are really special and unique to this microphone that I haven't seen on anything else. Now, full disclosure, these microphones were sent to me for free in exchange for a video review, and I will have affiliate links down below where I'm an Amazon associate, and I'll earn a small fee on qualifying purchases. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's take a look at the Feelworld FM8 first on my EM1 Mark III. And as you can see, it fits nicely onto the hot shoe. And the shock mount, as you can see, is very flexible. And we'll test that when we get outside, but long story short, it does a good job. So it's very compact, doesn't take up a lot of room. And let me show you one other configuration. So here it is on my Insta360. This is my normal vlogging setup. And this microphone actually works pretty well with the Insta360 1R. And it'll also work with GoPros and things like that. You just need a cage that will support a hot shoe, which are readily available. But yeah, I really like this little setup. It's very compact, convenient, and works very well. All right, let's take a look at how the Traxshot looks on my EM1 Mark III. And this is, again, a small camera, but it doesn't overwhelm the overall package and sizing. It's still very manageable. And if we look around the microphone itself, we can see some of the features here. We have the gain input here for the mic from 0 to 10. And then here on the side, we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so you can monitor the audio as it's coming in. And then on the other side, we have a USB-C charging port for the internal rechargeable battery. And then the microphone output line out 3.5 millimeter TRS plugged into my camera with the included cable. And then on the back, we have the power switch, and then we have the mode button, which we'll talk about later. And then you'll notice here some orange rubber bushings here for the shock mount, which it does a good job, and we'll test that when we go outside. But yeah, it's pretty effective. Then the last thing here is actually what's very unique is we have two microphones here that we can adjust. So when they're both pointing straight forward, that's when you get the super cardioid sort of tight pattern for audio. So it rejects sounds from the side and from the rear of the microphone. But we can widen the field of sound like so. So if we're interviewing, say, two people, we can kind of capture an equal amount of audio from the both. They don't have to stand directly in front. They can kind of stand to the left and right of each other. And then you can widen it even more. This would be mode S2. And this will capture virtually everything in front of the camera equally in terms of audio. And then finally, you have what they call the T mode, where now the camera will record front and rear at the same time. And this is very, very unique. It's very handy. So we'll test that out when we go outside and then here in the studio. But yeah, I've seen people try to work around doing this with dual mic setups, but you can now kind of do that in a single mic setup here. All right, let's take a closer look at the display itself. And this is a beautiful OLED display. It's very easy to see in bright daylight. And, you know, if we click the mode button, we can switch our modes to S1, which is 30 degrees, S2, which is our 90-degree wide angle, and then our T mode, which is front to back recording. And then what I like about this is that it actually shows you how to position the microphones depending what mode you want to go into. And I suppose that optimizes the audio characteristics of the microphone. And then next to that, M right now, we have the low cut filter. So right now the low cut filter is on. And then we can turn the low cut filter off to sort of eliminate, you know, some background hum and other low frequency sounds. And then obviously we have our battery indicator here as well. And then below that we have mic 1 and mic 2. level indicators, which are very clear and very reactive. So really, really nice. And I like how it's angled in an upward direction so that it's easy to see when you're standing behind the camera. Rather than having to kind of tilt down to eye level, you can be looking down on the camera and seeing the display without any issue. And you'll notice that it automatically dimmed as well to help conserve the battery life. All right, this is an outdoor test of the Feelworld FM8 microphone. And in my backyard, it's pretty loud. I have a lot of ambient noise behind me from a highway, and then sometimes helicopters fly over. And if you guys have seen me do videos in my backyard, you know how loud it is out here. But I think this is a good test for people that want to use this camera for vlogging, say in the city or urban areas and such. But in any case, let's go ahead and just do a quick test of the field or sound field pattern around the microphone to see how it picks up or rejects noise. So I'm just going to walk over, and I'm roughly at arm's length. This is kind of like vlogging length, talking head type length. And I'm just going to walk around to the side. So now I'm 90 degrees to the left of the microphone. Again, still at arm's length, and it should be rejecting a lot of my voice at this point. And now I'm standing behind the microphone at roughly arm's length, and I should be pretty soft here in my voice, but you can probably still hear me. And then let's go over to 90 degrees to the right, and this is how the camera sounds now, or the microphone sounds at this distance. And then walking back over to the front again, roughly at arm's length. And just keep in mind that this is not a powered microphone, so you will need to turn the power on in your camera for the microphone jack. And I have the volume level or input level set to +7 on my EM1 Mark III. Now I'm just going to walk backwards and see how well it picks up my voice at some distance. So right now I'm probably 3 meters away from the camera. And if I keep going back, pretty good distance now, I'm probably maybe 5 meters away, 6 meters away. And then I'll just keep walking forward. And again, I'm trying to keep my voice at the same volume level. And of course, now here comes a helicopter, which is behind me, and the camera is probably picking up that sound. And let's just do a quick test of the microphones. Let me wait for this helicopter. Well, I guess I can keep talking while the helicopter's going over, because this is real life, right? So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a quick vlogging test to test the shock mount on top of, or the shock mount for the microphone, which is generally, reduces the rustling noise or, rattle noise when you're hand holding a camera. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake the camera holding the strap so it doesn't make any sound. But I think IBIS aside, it's not obvious how much I'm shaking the camera, but I think it's doing a good job there. And then we'll just walk quickly out, away. So if I was hiking or doing some mountain climbing and I need to run somewhere like downhill away from some bears or something, you'll still be able to hear me pretty clearly, I hope. All right, so this is an outdoor test of the Comica Traxshot dual microphone. And as you can see from the leaves behind me, it's pretty windy out, but I do have these furry muffs on, or wind noise reduction devices, that should help with that. And this is how the microphone sounds. Again, I'm roughly at arm's length or hand holding length, and we'll walk around the microphone to see how it rejects noise. I am in the mono T pattern at this point. So as I walk around the camera, trying to maintain about the same distance, this is roughly how the microphone rejects noise from the left side. And then as I come over to the back of the camera, again, roughly at the same distance, this is how the camera rejects noise from the rear. And then as I move around to the left side of the camera, again, at about roughly the same length, this is the noise rejection of the camera from the right side. And then as I move back to the front, as you can see, I should be coming back in. Let me get back to the same distance. Really should be coming in pretty clear at this point. And again, the key to good audio quality, even in a noisy environment like I'm in, is really proximity to the microphone, as always. So let's test the other modes that this microphone has. The 30 degree, the 90 degree, and the front to back, the T mode. So we're going to do first the 30 degree mode. and I need to change the mode on the back. And I'm doing this just as an exercise, because it's really academic at this point, because the audio sounded roughly about the same to me, even though I changed the modes on the back, just moving the microphones apart. But the idea here being is, if you have 2 or 3 people that you're talking to in front of the camera, one person can be standing sort of to the right or left of the camera, and the audio should be roughly about the same as the person talking in the center. And then coming over to the left side of the microphone, you should have about the same audio level. So everybody comes in at about the same level. Now let's go to the 90-degree mode. So I'll just simply switch it this way. Now I'm in the S2 mode, and the audio should be pretty equal again, but for a wider range. So if I come over here, almost out of frame, my audio level should be roughly about the same as it was when I was in the center of the camera. And then as I move over and out of frame to the far right, this is picking up my voice hopefully at about the same level. And this setting is ideal for where you want to try to pick up the sound equally from everything in front of the camera. Now let's test out the most interesting aspect of this microphone, and that is the T mode, where I point one microphone to the front and one microphone to the back. Okay, now I'm talking roughly at about the same distance in front of the camera, and this is a great option, and I don't know why this hasn't been done before, because I've seen people try to rig dual microphone setups so they can do exactly this, but they have to get like a splitter to send one channel into the left channel, another mic into the right channel. But this does it for you all in a single microphone package. And let's go around to the back of the microphone. And now I'm talking from behind the microphone at roughly the correct level. And if I'm holding the microphone or holding the camera like this is probably about the distance I'd be talking to someone, if that would be in front of the camera. And then we'll walk around to the left side or right side of the camera, and this is the audio rejection from the right side, which should be pretty good. And then back to the front of the camera. And like I said, this is an ideal setup when you're, say, at a trade show and you're interviewing maybe the manufacturer, asking about their products, and this way the person watching your video will be able to hear your voice and the person you're talking to clearly at the same time, without having to set up some elaborate microphone systems like that I've seen before. This kind of does it for you all in one. Now let's go ahead and just go back to the mono mode. Okay, now I'm back in the mono mode, and I have both mics facing forward, and we're just going to walk backwards and see how it picks up my audio. So now I'm roughly maybe 2-3 meters away from the microphone, and then I'll go back up to maybe 3, 4, 5 meters roughly from the camera, and hopefully it's still picking up my voice, but maybe not quite as loud, right? Because I am pretty far away from the microphone. And then as I walk back towards the microphone, back into proximity, you should be getting a nice clear audio of my voice. And then let's test the shock mount system on this. It's very unique. I've never seen one like this, but it makes sense when you look at it. So I'm going to take the camera off. Let me hold the straps so they don't rattle. All right, let's just do a quick shake test. How is that? Oh, my strap is making sound. All right, let's do a quick shake test. And yeah, it's doing a great job. And then we'll just walk very quickly out and run out. And this is typically like I'm running downhill on a mountain away from some mountain lines or something. This is how it would sound. And again, I think the shock mount's doing a great job because I've tested this before and it was perfectly fine. All right, so now we're back in the studio, and I wanted you to see how the setup sounds when we're indoors in more of a studio office environment like you see here. And you could easily use this microphone for live streaming, podcasting, etc. I think the audio quality is really quite excellent, even compared to my other Comica branded mic that I use in my live streams. So one last thing I'll test is the T mode setup, where I have the microphone set to the front and to the back. So I can just quickly rotate this around. So if I had this microphone set up sort of on a mini table tripod like my other microphone, you could have two people sitting at the table and the microphone will be able to pick up both people equally. So I'll just turn the camera around. And this is how the audio sounds now with the rear microphone as I'm talking into it in a more quiet studio environment. And of course we have the other modes, the S1 and S2, which is the 30 and 90 degree angles, which, you know, if the people are sitting on the same side of the table, you could angle the microphones to point at each one of them. All right, now I'm using the Feelworld FM8 microphone, and again, I think the audio quality is perfectly fine indoors. If you wanted to use this for podcasting, live streaming, Zoom calls, etc., you could plug this microphone into whatever camera or computer that you please, and you'll be able to get decent audio. And we can go ahead and test the sound rejection real quick. I'll just turn the camera around, and this is the sound rejection from the rear, which can be helpful in noisier homes. Like, let's say you have an air conditioning unit on the other side, like I do sometimes, going off, and it'll reject some of that noise. And this is the sound rejection from the side at 90 degrees. And it's not going to be quite as noticeable because the pattern to the sides, it may cut the sound in half, but not to zero. And it's going to cut the sound coming from the back of the microphone, hopefully by a greater amount. But this is how this microphone sounds. I have the audio level set to +5 in the camera, whereas actually when I was using the Comica mic, I had it set to -5 for the audio, but I did have the dial turned all the way up to +10. Now, if you noticed in the last clip, there was a little bit of hissing sound when I was recording through the camera here in the studio using the Feelworld FM8, this microphone right here. And what I wanted to do was plug the microphone directly into my computer and record via OBS to hear how this would sound if I was actually using it for a live stream and recording the audio separately directly through the computer. And as you can see, that hissing sound is going away, and you should be hearing better audio quality as well. Because a lot of cameras, you know, including Olympus, don't have very good preamps for recording audio, especially when you start cranking up the levels. Now, when I was using the Traxshot, there was virtually no hissing noise because I was able to reduce the internal preamps of the camera down to a -5 and then just crank up the powered microphone to +10, and the audio was perfectly fine. So I just wanted to address that issue that I heard on the last clip, and now let's go to the summary. All right, so I thought I'd go ahead and finish up using the Comica Traxshot plugged in directly to my computer and then recording via OBS, just like you would for any kind of Zoom meeting or live stream, etc. And as you can see, I think the quality is just fine. And really, both microphones at their price points, I think, offer an excellent value. So just in summary, the Feelworld FM8, you know, it's very small and compact for a boom microphone, has okay rejection from the sides, but more so in the back to help isolate the speaker's voice. And because of its small compact size, you know, it's ideal for, like, you know, these little, what do you call them, action cameras, and also for your DSLRs. You know, they don't add any weight or bulk to it really at all. And you can get really good audio quality. And then for the more professional use, this microphone right now is closer to about $180. And this very unique feature of being able to rotate the microphone front and back or to the sides if you want, gives you a lot of options for recording multiple people. So if they're all sitting on the same side of the table, if they're sitting in a round table, or they're sitting directly across from you, this microphone lets you adapt to whatever situation you might run into. And that's very, very unique. Now, one thing you have to note is that it separates the microphones into each channel. So you're getting a stereo effect as well. So if you want to have the audio equal or level coming out of both channels, you have to adjust that in post-processing. But that's really no big deal for people that do this all the time. But, maybe you're fine with a stereo effect as well, especially when everybody's on the same side, but just sort of separated. And, a lot of the other features, it's a decent build quality. The shock mount did a good job. And I really like that it uses USB-C for charging, so I can take this anywhere. And you can operate the microphone while it's being charged. So you have virtually unlimited runtime using the Comica Traxshot. All right, I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you're interested in any of these microphones, I'll have links down below that you can buy these. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll do my best to answer them. But either way, I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.